Song E-A-G-L-E-S. We on, look.
We from Philly.
If you don't know, we run these streets the same way the birds run that NFC East. Giants is weak, Skins is trash. Cowboys every season whoop that ass. Look, it ain't no competition. We here for those who listen. Want nothing but the facts. That ego coalition. We could give two fucks about your trash ass team. Our concern is about that black, that white, that midnight green. The feathers on the helmet, bruh, our hearts indebted. Fly Eagles fly, what it's about, bruh. I said it, look up.
But I just gotta know one thing. Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
What's up, Philadelphia? We are live broadcasting from Wildfire Sports Studios. Welcome to the 4th and JAWN 2018 Eagles Offseason Episode 10. Boys and girls, we are exactly 100 days away from kickoff. And normally when I hear that and I see the retweet, I feel some kind of way. But for some reason this time it felt a little different. When the Eagles won the Super Bowl, the show after, our last show at New Media Studios, we're here at Wildfire Studios, and we thank you, Wildfire, for us being here. But when we did our last show after the Super Bowl, I said in my intro to enjoy the first. The little unexpected first that you didn't see coming. Because we all daydreamed about winning a Super Bowl, what it would be like, what we would say, how we would feel, who we would be around. But it's those unexpected firsts that come as a most pleasant surprise. And seeing a 100-day countdown to the NFL season made me feel some sort of way. Because normally I see that and I think to myself, oh, 100 days, that's a long ways away. Or maybe I might think to myself, 100 days, Eagle season right around the corner. I might think to myself, is this the year that we win a Super Bowl? When are we going to win a Super Bowl? When is it our turn to win a Super Bowl? When are we ever going to win a Super Bowl? But this time, I looked at 100 days, and I thought to myself, I didn't smile. I didn't feel happiness. My eyebrows went down, and I got angry. Because we are 100 days from going to war. We are 100 days from defending the crown. We are 100 days to reminding the rest of the NFL who runs this motherfucker. The Philadelphia Eagles. Because you win one Super Bowl, you make history. You win 2 Super Bowls, you become historic. We still talk about the Dallas Cowboys of the 90s. We still talk about John Elway and that Denver Broncos team that won back-to-back. We still talk about the New England Patriots when they won back-to-back because that is historic. And that's what this team is getting ready to do 100 days from today. They already made history. They are about to become historic. So boys and girls, buckle up. It's going to go faster than you think it is. We are 100 days away. Mr. Gale Saunders, Eagle Sessions on Twitter. How are you doing? How was your Memorial Day weekend, bro?
It was great, man. Just chilled, barbecued, ate a lot of food, got a little fatter, you know. Still dealing with the allergies.
Barbecue season.
Hey, it's great, man. I like you said, man, 100 days closer to the season.
Yeah, man.
The reason for the season was the Super Bowl last year. The reason for this season is defending the crown season 1. And I think, you know, every practice for me is just another opportunity to learn about the players that we have on this roster, the new pieces, and how are they going to affect the roster moving forward, and how are they going to affect these W's. No losses because we're going undefeated.
No,
just really? Kidding. We'll lose a couple, but you know, some of the coaches got to speak today.
Yes, sir.
Schwartz, Schwartz is being Schwartz. He's not going to say too much and not going to praise someone too much, but he did mention Devontae Bosby being a valuable player in the slot. The rotating guys, they don't have a guy for the slot position. Mike had mentioned last week about Sidney Jones
Yes,
playing
sir.
on the inside.
Yes, sir.
They don't have a guy right now. So for right now, it's early in the practices. Everyone's gonna get a shot at the slot. So that was one key thing that I heard in his intro today.
I just feel differently about it. I mean, normally we're all watching the live periscopes, whether it be the beat writers tweeting out video or whether it be the Philadelphia Eagles social media team going live. We're used to watching that practice, those mini camps, those OTAs, and really kind of digesting that as, well, how is this person going to contribute to the upcoming season? What does this person look like? How's the rookie? I don't know. I'm just watching it differently. Whether it be Carson Wentz rehabbing from that knee. Is he going to be ready to go week 1? Is he going to help defend that crown because there's nothing above the repeat? Is Darren Sproles going to show up? How does Nelson Aguilar look? What does Godart look like? You look at it, it's a different mindset when I'm getting ready for the season because it's all about defending that crown. And that's what's so unique about this offseason is that we're going into it like there is nothing above the repeat.
Right.
This is different. This is the new norm for the fan base. Thinking about championships, not thinking about maybes. Not thinking about what ifs.
Dynasties.
Thinking about dynasties. We're thinking about dynasties right now.
That's a crazy feeling as an Eagle fan saying the word dynasty.
Absolutely.
We saw some good defenses, some strong defenses in the past, but seeing a overall unit that's so cohesive and the chemistry in the locker room, we never saw that before.
Never.
Not
never,
like that.
Ever. Never, ever.
I just got to say real quick, we have come a long way. Do you remember the beginning of last season? We were afraid to say the SB word, and now we're talking the D word.
We were afraid to say the SB word midway through the season, and I was the one kind of like, all right,
I said that, bitch.
Yeah, man.
A few of us did.
It was in the
real
gut,
quick.
man. It's a fun.
It felt like
it was in the gut, dude.
Yep.
Like,
like our year.
I've never seen that before.
Nah.
That kind of team.
That was the most complete Eagles team I've ever witnessed.
It's just different. When you stand up next to that Lombardi and you see your reflection in that trophy, kids, don't do drugs. But if you're going to do a drug, do that drug. Because I guarantee you there is no bigger high than seeing that Lombardi, knowing you're waking up every single day, knowing you're world champions, knowing what it takes to get there, and seeing that again in this team. Working the social media is our boy, Philly Mike. Mike, how are you doing? How was your Memorial Day weekend?
It's good. It was good. I'm trying to recoup this little hangover I have going on.
Drinking, were you? Were you drinking?
Just a little bit.
High C fruit punch.
Yeah. Some people know me. I have a high tolerance for alcohol, but, man, it was a rough weekend. But we were talking about Schwartz a little bit ago, Gail, and one key point that we didn't mention, though, there was a question. We were talking about pregame before the show that Jim Schwartz was asked a question about Michael Bennett. And and then Jim Schwartz completely dodged the question and moved on to talking about something else. How do you guys feel about that whole entire situation, though? He didn't even mention the name Michael Bennett, just completely slipped out of the mind and everything.
I think he just wants to, he's not, his mentality usually, if the player's not there, he doesn't want to talk about them. Once they show up, and then again, he's a veteran. He does this thing during the offseason. He's going to be there next week.
Plus, what do you have the benefit from really addressing or answering that question? You're just opening up a can of worms. Because you answer one, next thing you know, you're going to be answering 5. So it's better just to kind of move on, move past it. Really, what positive is going to come out of that? Because you're going to be, well, is Michael Bennett's absence affecting your defensive rotation? Do you think he should be getting the reps in? Jim,
locker room issue, maybe?
Yeah. Jim, do you think this affects, like, in other words, I would have moved right past it too. You know, because he's not here. It's not worth talking about. And if I start talking about it, you know how the beat writers are, man. They just start piling on and on.
But he did mention one thing about Michael Bennett. He said that he liked is the multi-dimensional talents, and he said that he fits his scheme very well.
There you go.
So there you go.
That's all you need to know.
Right
there you go.
We'll see it in mandatory OTAs. We'll see it in mandatory minicamps. We'll see it all through training camp. So I don't want to Fletcher Cox it and make it a big deal that he isn't there. I feel like they're going to see him and he's going to be part of the team, and we're going to kind of forget this section of the Eagles offseason relatively quickly.
I mean, the thing you like about these practices, this is where you get to see the young talent. This is where you get to see who's on the back end of the roster, see who's going to compete for that second string, third, fourth string spot on the roster.
Special
And
teams.
That's really what they're looking at. I mean, Darren Sproles isn't here.
No.
But it's okay.
But it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay, man.
It's okay.
It's okay. Hey, working the soundboard today is our boy Evan Bubblegum here. How are you doing today, Evan?
I'm not going to do my thing in an accent. That's okay. But I'm doing pretty well. I'm sitting here thinking about what you said, A, and I'm thinking about a possible diagnosis to your problem.
All right, Dr. Evan Bubblegum here. What do I have?
So what the problem is an acute. I'm kidding. So what the problem is that all these previous years that you were talking about, you were thinking to yourself, is this going to be our year? Is this the year the Eagles finally break through and I get to witness a Super Bowl? All those previous years, you never had the Super Bowl victory before. And what I mean by that is that since we got the Super Bowl victory this year, we can start building a dynasty. And like you've been pounding the table since the first week after the Super Bowl, there's nothing above the repeat. So if the Eagles had lost the Super Bowl last year, we're used to that. We're used to the Eagles underperforming as a team, and now we have a team that overperforms and wins the Super Bowl. And you guys can all relate. Anybody that's listening can relate. There's nothing better than your first time.
Nothing better.
It went way too quick. It's already been in a week from now, we are going to be 4 months removed from the Super Bowl. I'm looking at that as the inversion of what you guys are talking about. We're 100 days away from the season kicking off. We're also 4 months away from just winning the Super Bowl. It's amazing how fast the time has flew.
And it does, and it's still every morning. Every morning I pop out of bed. The day a morning doesn't pass within the first 10 minutes of me being awake. I go to myself, my God, they did it. Like it's still just so weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird to think about. We spent our entire lives chasing that trophy, and it's here. And I saw my reflection in it. Yeah. And now I'm like Tyrone Biggins, just like, you got any more of them Lombardis?
My grandfather's face looked like mine when he first started following this team. And he got his first Super
That poor
Bowl.
bastard.
That poor bastard. He was sitting on the couch. He wasn't able to celebrate like us on Broad Street, but he got it.
All right. And we got Lacey chatting with everybody on Facebook Live. Lacey, what's going on over there on Facebook Live?
We're doing pretty good. We're getting some questions. Mostly a lot about Michael Kendricks and whether he's a big loss or not.
Who the hell's that?
So, we're getting a lot of questions about him and who will be his replacement, more or less, and if he's, if it hurts the team or not. Well,
you're going to get a lot more comments with what I'm about to bring up here, because I'm not sure if, in social media, like the Facebook people aren't always on the same page as the Twitter people. But what's lighting Twitter up right now is this series of unpopular opinion.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say questions. I don't want to call them memes, but it's usually unpopular opinion, food edition, right. Movies edition.
Different threads. They're different threads.
The different threads. And then people can, because we all have unpopular opinions about certain things in life, and we don't always say them. So this is a perfect excuse to throw out your unpopular opinion without not necessarily getting judged, but it gives you a platform to be like, look, this is my unpopular opinion, discuss. So I threw out there the unpopular opinion Philadelphia Eagles edition, and I screenshotted, I don't know.
31?
Because I sent them all to you. 31. I don't know if we're going to get to all of them, but I thought it was good topics to bring up because these are unpopular opinions. So first one I want to bring up is, and I'm just going right from the top. This is in no particular order. But Mr. Ruffin on Twitter says Mac Hollins will have a better season than Mike Wallace. Unpopular opinion or truth?
I think that's a popular opinion. That's a popular opinion from my camp.
Unpopular opinion.
Unpopular opinion.
I believe that's truth.
I think Mike Wallace represents a more veteran deep threat. Like he's done it.
Yeah.
And he continues to do it. I think he's more versatile. You could work him in the slot as well. People think of Wallace as just a deep threat. If you watch what he did last season for the Ravens, he used him in all different types of ways. So I think
and that's going to give you the flexibility of moving that guy around the field. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like you said, not using him as just a vertical deep threat. Now, you got to imagine, okay, Alshon Jeffrey's your 1. Wallace is going to be the 2. Nelson's going to be working the slot. You know, more than likely, Mac Hollins is going to be your 4th option at receiver. You're going to see him on 4 receiver sets. Maybe when they go like jumbo package or they bring in 2 tight ends, you might see him because he does have speed. I'm not saying he doesn't.
Yeah,
If you look at some of the plays he made last year, incredible down the field plays, and for his size to be burning people like that, let him develop into that Mike Wallace role. Don't force it upon him.
I mean, you think about that play that Mac Hollins had against the Redskins. That was pretty nice. But I think right now he's playing in place of Alshon Jeffrey in the first team reps. So, I mean, we all like Mac Hollins. I mean, I think
There's not much with the flossing. There's not much. There's not much not to like. Not much not to like.
Still young.
Next unpopular opinion. This is a good one. This is going to be a touchy subject. All right, because a lot of you haven't seen this one. Merrill Reese is awful to listen to and probably doesn't know what's actually going on half the time.
Put him in the bathroom.
Wow.
Merrill Reese.
What's the at? I must know the at.
It is
Put him on blast.
Scotty D47. Scotty D47.
So you trying to old yeller Merrill Reese? Is that what we're...
Nah.
I will say I will say this. I'll say this. During my brief stint kind of flirting with 97.5, right? There was a time where I was doing some like very brief time with 97.5, doing like some behind the scenes stuff. They were trying to maybe incorporate me into the morning show. It just didn't work out, but I spent a lot of time with the guys. And every time the first time Merrill Reese got brought up, unanimously in the room, and I'm not going to name names, but unanimously in the room, they all said that Merrill was terrible, that he was unlistenable. And I remember thinking to myself, like, whoa, what? Like, it came as a shock to me until one person said, actually listen to Merrill Reese. Listen to the way he calls a play. Close your eyes. And if you are not specifically watching the play, what kind of picture does he paint for you? And it's a lot of like, he'll do the pre-formation very well, but as soon as the action happens, he drops back. He fires. Complete to Aguilar. Down the sideline.
I need my glasses.
And well, listen, like, I love Merrill. I can't imagine, much like Harry Callis with the Philadelphia Phillies, I can't imagine a world without Merrill Reese.
Yeah.
But they did make a point when you listen to other broadcasters, other play-by-play guys for other teams and nationally, they paint a prettier picture. Throws to the flat, 5 yards, dives to the outside. He's up the sideline. Like, they'll paint that picture. Whereas Merrill Reese, actually, if you listen to him, kind of lacks. And I don't know if that's old age.
It could be old age.
That's what I mean. He's been doing with the Eagles for over 40 years.
I remember 2 years ago I met him.
That's enough said. I mean, I think we just need new blood eventually.
Well, don't rush it. I don't want anybody else besides Merrill Reese. But he does come with his flaws.
Yeah, I mean, 2 years ago, I met him at the Eagles draft party when they were announcing the 4th, 5th, and 6th round picks, and I got to meet Merrill.
Hello, motherfucker.
I'm like, yo, he had that aura around him. You know what I mean? He's got that aura, but then he seemed a little slower. He's old.
Yeah, well,
he's old.
He's
you can't expect him to be on his tippy toes, like he's an older dude. I think
Isn't it weird for nobody's that met Merrill Reese in person? Number one, he's the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah,
he takes time with anybody who's willing to talk with him. He's like 4'11".
Yeah,
he's like an elf.
Look at this dude.
He's like a little elf on the shelf. Eagles elf on the shelf. And when you talk to him first, and I get that a lot because when sometimes people meet me in the tailgates or whatever, they're like, you're a lot quieter in person. And that's because, like, we all have that projection, like, right? Like, I don't know what I was expecting walking up to Merrill for the first time, but he was hi, my name is, like, of course he's not going to do the radio voice. But it's like a very toned down version of the radio voice. It's if you never had a chance to meet Merrill Reese.
Nice guy.
Nice guy. Fantastic guy. Next, unpopular opinion.
Oh, we got a quick opinion from one of our guys, Mac Attack. He said Merrill Reese is a national treasure, the football equivalent of Vince Scully. That is offensive. Whoever said that, he's terrible.
He's a no, well, listen, that's not going to go over well. That's like telling Cubbies fans that Harry Carey wasn't shit.
I mean, that's the thing I like about these.
Hi, Evan. Play the new Cop Hizzle. Drop.
I think the thing I like about these, they sting right to your heart.
Yeah.
And you're like, what did you say?
And then think about it.
Yeah.
And then you think
what
about
did you
it.
say, motherfucker?
The unpopular opinion threads are the greatest thing on Twitter going right now. And next one up is from the Chubby Don. He says the Eagles fans aren't any worse than any other teams. Vikings fans are just pussies.
Okay.
Ouch.
Fuck.
All right.
He isn't wrong.
So, well, he was right about the second half. That has been proven. That is a known fact. That's not an opinion. That is a fact. Vikings fans are indeed vaginal.
Yeah.
Okay. But Eagles fans aren't any worse than any other teams. Gail, what do you? We've traveled. What say you?
I think we have strong opinions, and we let people know them. I think we, as a fan base, we haven't killed anybody like let's say the Cowboys fan who killed somebody. What was the Raiders fan who killed somebody?
49ers fans.
49ers fan. I mean,
didn't a Cowboys fan stab a Redskins fan or vice versa?
Yep.
Let's talk about that.
Well,
I mean,
that's never on ESPN though.
No.
Never on ESPN.
Eagle fans did raise money for Tom Coughlin J Fun.
Yeah,
for
$10,000. An opposing team. Yeah, Tom Coughlin himself,
a Giants guy.
Who, by the way, I got via direct message sends his thank you to everybody who donated.
That's
Hey,
awesome.
Tom Coughlin sends his thank you to Eagles fans raising all that money. Awesome. I tell you this, growing up, right, you hear so many things about the Eagles fan base. They're the most passionate fan base. They're the most knowledgeable fan base. They're crazy about their football. They're the best fans in the NFL, so on and so forth. And at least I digested that with a little bit of a grain of salt. Like, that's a little bit of tooting our own horns. That's a little self-serving. It's probably like that because it doesn't matter what the sport. You'll see in the NBA Finals, whoever eventually holds up that trophy, probably Golden State, is going to say, Golden State Warriors fans, you're the best fans in the NBA. And the Stanley Cup Finals, Vegas might be holding up the Stanley Cup and say to the fledgling Vegas Knights fan base, you're the best fans. I don't know how the fuck they could, but they're gonna say it.
Yep.
They're gonna say it. So I always thought that was a little self-serving, that every fan base was alike. The more well-traveled I become, the more I go up to MetLife Stadium, the more I go to DC, LA, Baltimore, the more I see these fan bases, I realize that all the hype, there's truth behind that. Mm-hmm. It's possibly a little overhyped, but the Eagles fan base by far is the nuttiest, most passionate, diehard. You talk to anybody and they can talk to you intelligently. We've been up to MetLife and we've seen, and some of the people are there just to be there. Mm-hmm. Now we went down to Baltimore, last home game of the season. Playoff window, they had to win and a couple other things had to happen, but nevertheless, they still had, it was their last home game, and they had a shot at the playoffs, a chance to get in the wild card, and a third of the stadium was fucking empty. The guy in front of us fell asleep.
I mean, in the Redskins, they didn't even sell out.
No.
For their opener. Like, my friend was like, dude, I could have got you tickets there.
Divisional game.
At the top of the stadium, it was, like, covered up with, like, FedEx stuff.
Yeah.
Tarp.
And he's like, dude, I could have got you tickets. You let me know. I'm like, what?
Who would have pulled the tarp off for you?
You know?
You could have a whole section to yourself.
But I think the Eagles fan base is, like, we're the only fan base that will argue over a fourth down running back, fourth string running back, or argue over Paul Turner, or who's going to be that camp darling that we fall in love with. But as you go around, and travel and stuff, you have these intelligent conversations with the fan base, and I think we're pretty smart.
Yeah.
Don't take it humbly, but know, Eagles fans, that there is something different about you that makes you unique from any other fan base. And those are the words from one Mr. Darren McMullen, who was on that Football Fanatic show. Because they visited Philadelphia late, and he was about to 6 other cities, and he goes, dude, as far as passion, as far as excitement, as far as dedication, you guys blow everybody else out of the water. And that's after visiting Dallas, after visiting the New York Giants, after visiting the Green Bay Packers. So, from an outsider's perspective, there's truth.
And it's
Nailed
before,
it.
And it's before the Eagles won the Super Bowl too.
And before the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
Speaking of that, is he doing a season 2 by chance? I
I
know.
don't know, I got to reach out to him.
Yeah.
But they are playing those episodes again, like it recently aired. They're playing them on NFL Network now. So
Okay.
keep an eye out for that. Next unpopular opinion comes from Brother Frank.
These are great though.
These
Yeah,
are
it's good stuff.
dude, they just get better. Andy Reid was the problem during his tenure in Philadelphia.
Ouch.
He was the problem.
He was the problem.
Yeah, he got in his own way.
You can't handle the truth.
How do you not get Donovan McNabb a wide receiver until Terrell Owens?
Yeah.
Really, you gonna put this on Thrash in Pinkston?
The biggest
Freddie
For
Mitchell.
1 year too.
Freddie Mitchell.
They would only have him for 1 year. on
Reggie
top of that.
Brown.
the biggest tragedy in Philadelphia sports, and there's been a lot of them, was that the Eagles didn't come away with the Vince Lombardi Trophy during Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb's run.
I mean, I'll add to that. Jim Johnson carried the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
I'll give
Carry
that one
the
to you.
defense.
100%.
Absolutely.
100%. Because when that offense wasn't clicking, the defense was the one.
Keeping him in
Yes.
games.
And
Absolutely.
Andy
Oh,
was
yes.
a great Monday through Saturday coach. He could cook up a game plan excellent. As far as in-game clock management or adjustments, clueless. I've never seen somebody more clueless or just stick to the fucking script that he wrote on Saturday without any adjustments. That's the difference between Andy Reid and Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson's how many times last season did they go into the locker room either even or down and make the adjustments to make it happen in the second half?
And the weird thing, as an Eagle fan, you're thinking like the Reed area. You're thinking like, we're not going to rebound from this.
And who has
We're
a
not gonna
Lombardi
rebound.
as a head coach? Reed or Doug Peterson? Dougie P. Dougie P knows what's up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you think about Doug Peterson. He's like the Luke Skywalker, taking the reins from Darth Vader.
All right, here
Nice
we
Star
go.
Wars
Here we go. This comes from JG Basile. With a Super Bowl win, we got to start acting like an elite franchise. We're not downtrodden anymore. Just ignore opposing fans and get loud. Stop punching horses is my main point. So his unpopular opinion is to stop punching horses.
Well, what
I
about,
mean,
I'll
What about-
co-sign that. No one
Come
punch
on.
any more horse.
what about eating horse shit?
we should
Not
probably
Is that the same guy who ate the horse shit?
No,
and
there was
puts
there was another one too. I'm not sure if I printed it out, and if I did, I'll get to it and just move past it. One of the unpopular opinions is that the quote unquote good fans of the Eagles fan base should start policing the bad fans of the Eagles fan base. Like, how do you do that though? How do you tell somebody not to act like an asshole?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's only going to start fights because when there is drunk, rowdy people,
Yeah.
the worst thing you could tell them is to relax because that's going to do the complete opposite.
Hey, could you stop drinking?
Yeah.
Slow it down.
Hey, screw
Could you stop swearing, Cheryl? You're scaring the children
Could you put
around.
your shirt back on?
Sure, you put your shirt back on, Cheryl. All right, next one.
Oh God.
Philactica or Dylan. All right.
Dylan.
Here we go. Here's a good one. Signing Hicks to a long-term extension would be a mistake.
Whoa, Nelly!
Would be a mistake, Gail.
I guess that would be the Achilles heel.
Oh.
Ooh. I see what you did there.
Yeah. Okay.
That was nice.
Smart guys.
That was smart.
It's tough. I mean, you gotta look at how he plays. I mean, he could lose some speed after coming back on this Achilles.
Has he played a full season ever in his
I
career?
No.
I don't think so.
Not so
think he
far.
has.
Oh my God.
But what if he does the full season this year?
Well, then you have to
Then they gotta do it, right?
Yeah.
Gotta do it.
His injuries go back to college. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
reason
Yeah.
why he dropped.
Right.
Yeah.
To where he
Right.
dropped.
But how do you set the market value for somebody like that? What's the market value? You can't pay him like an elite linebacker.
Can't pay him
It's a
Brad
short-term-
money.
It has to be a short-term deal.
It
Yeah.
has to be short term. You can't pay him like a backup.
No.
You can't pay him like an elite linebacker. So like starting linebacker, like that's Brad money. Brad money is kind of what, if you're going to sign Jordan Hicks long term, that's what you're looking at.
Or maybe
Brad money.
if you do like how he's been doing 1 year prove it deal. To prove it again next year, you
That
have
could
a
happen.
full season, and then if you're fully healthy again, then you get that starter money.
Yeah, that's
But a lot of
possible.
times, prove it deals aren't from the club that you are currently with. Prove-it deals come from a veteran like Des Bryant.
What about Jeremy Macklin?
And that's the one thought that came into my head. That's the one time that I can remember a prove-it deal.
And he proved it.
And he proved it, and the Eagles let him go anyway. But I think that's what other players around the league would look at when taking a prove-it deal from your current club that you're under contract with. Because haven't I proved it already to you? I'm here. You drafted me. You kept me. I'm on the roster year after year. Didn't I already prove it? Now, if you're Jordan Hicks and the Eagles approach you with a one-year prove-it deal, but you know damn right well that in free agency everybody gets overpaid. Everybody. It doesn't matter who it is. Look at some of the names that got signed, some of the second, third-tier guys who got signed. Look at the money they're making. That's well past prove-it money.
Yep.
So if you're Jordan Hicks, wouldn't it be more advantageous? You already won a Super Bowl there.
Yeah,
to then go on and get banked instead of having to prove to the club that you're already with?
Yeah.
I think he's a leader within that locker room. He's also a really cerebral guy. He's a great thinker, and just like a overall team leader, and leads by action. I think he helps cultivate the next couple linebackers in the locker room. But I think the guy that brought in Corey Nelson for the Broncos, also a great coverage linebacker. You know, he's rated up there with Jordan Hicks back in 2016. So, you know, they're looking. They're probably looking for someone who potentially could compete with him. Then Nate Gary also is playing in the nickel in the slots right now, nickel linebacker spot where Hicks is playing. But he's not playing right now since he's injured.
This is from Brohen314, and I don't think this is an unpopular opinion, but it speaks on what we were just talking about with Donovan McNabb. If the Eagles front office back then was more active like it is today when McNabb was playing, that is a poor tweet structure, my friend. You have got to work on that. If the Eagles front office back then was more active like it is today when McNabb was playing, McNabb would have won at least 2 Super Bowls in his prime. True.
It's true.
That's absolutely true.
They would have got McNabb his Alshon Jeffrey.
But that's the benefit of having like a Howie Roseman, and when Jason Kelsey was up there giving his speech, talking about the adversity that Howie Roseman went through, and the lessons he was able to learn from his mistakes. Not mistakes, but his situation when he was locked in the closet. Yeah. You know, and Jason Kelsey hadn't seen that guy for a year. He was on the opposite side of the building. I think that Howie learned from his time with Joe Banner and Andy Reid what to do right, what they were doing wrong. Then when he lost the power to Chip Kelly, stood back, self-evaluated, watched Chip, did what he did right, which was far and few in between, did what he did wrong, which is a fucking laundry list, and then when he was time to ready to take power again, fucking killed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. And continues to do it. A fantastic job.
Yeah. One thing, I don't know how Reed didn't get Randy Moss.
There was
a slight opportunity when he was available.
There was a slight opportunity. There was also, little known, there was also maybe it is known. I don't know. They were real close to Larry Fitzgerald.
Really?
They were real close to getting something done for Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh, goodness.
So it's not that they didn't try. It's that they tried, but
they didn't get it done.
They didn't get it done.
Yeah.
And had Donovan had an elite #1 wide receiver, when you think about what that means for a Brian Westbrook, what that means for a Brent Selleck or a Chad Lewis, you know, what that means for the rest of the running backs, that offensive line was just as good as it is today.
Yeah, I think when Howie came out from the other side of the NovaCare complex, when he came back and got the reins back, I think that he truly learned the art of the fleece. You know what I mean?
The art of the fleece.
For real. Because after he took back over, Chip was very active during offseason. But I think Howie Roseman has been probably the most active GM since taking over from Chip. Yeah, by far.
Mike.
And do you think Donovan McNabb's character issues during this time here was also a problem for wide receivers not coming here? Because you have Carson Wentz. Because you have Carson Wentz as brought in Alshon Jeffrey and some of these other players. Do you think Donovan McNabb's character probably was an issue with some of these?
That was discovered
besides T.O.
That was discovered afterwards.
There was an ego problem between him and T.O.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, that worked.
I think he did have an ego in the locker room. If you listen to a lot of the former players talk about him, you know, they kind of make mention of it. But I think getting him a weapon was like, even the whole fan base was waiting on this.
Yeah.
You could imagine what McNabb was thinking.
I mean, you guys might have been too young to be at Lehigh when T.O. first came to town, but I know Gail and I were both there.
I was there.
And wow, I mean that was
Rockstar.
I mean that was I've never seen such a big crowd from when T.O. first got to Philadelphia, and people holding up those tinfoil Lombardi like the crowd was. We were expecting to go to the Super Bowl that year. It was an expectation, as opposed to this year when it was kind of like, we're going to keep progressing and we're going to see how this team moves forward.
If we make the
playoffs, 9 and 7, 10 and 6, somewhere around there, and we end up winning the whole damn thing by surprise.
I mean, part of that was instant love for T.O. because of his persona and everything, but the instant love for having finally a number one wide receiver that we've been
He had what, 15
dying
touchdowns
for.
that year? 15?
Something like that.
Season?
Yeah.
He was a boss.
And you gotta see it from Donovan's perspective. Not that he was right, but that guy came to Philadelphia, and the minute he was drafted, stood up there and held the colors and got booed.
Yeah.
And then T.O. comes to town and totally steals the reception that T.O. got should have been the reception that Donovan got. And then the city fell in love with Terrell Owens when they weren't falling in love with Donovan McNabb.
Mm-hmm.
And if Donovan McNabb's fragile little ego, which is still on display to this day, when you heard him this season talk about Carson Wentz and what the Eagles could do, so on, he's still butthurt about it. He's fragile. He's a big 6'2", now 300 and some odd pound worth of fragile.
Oh, I would love to be on set when someone finally says in front of Donovan McNabb that Carson Wentz is the greatest Eagles quarterback.
I don't want to be around for that.
I was at Super Bowl Radio Row and I was doing camera work.